In this video, I wanted to talk a little about drawing models. Specifically, I wanted to give kind of a long-term review of these Figma Archetype Next drawing model figures that I've had for probably 4 or 5 years now, I think. It was kind of a long-term process getting into these. This was before I started painting. I was actually mostly pencil sketching at the time, and I was looking for a way to get sort of an anatomic model, something to reference when I was just sketching, to just make things a little more accurate without having to search for reference photos. So my search started with just kind of like the art store figures that you might find, the wooden ones. And I found that those were kind of a little too simplistic. I wanted something with a little more anatomy. And I guess in my Google searching, probably all the ad-driven social media stuff picked up on my searches, and eventually I started seeing Instagram ads for models that looked like these Figma figures. But like so many Instagram ads, they were bootleg items. So I didn't want to buy directly from the ad because I've been burned by that before, getting kind of counterfeit versions of real things. So what I ended up doing is going to eBay and searching for drawing models, and I came across these models, and they look pretty cool, so I ordered them. And what I ended up getting the first time around was the counterfeit versions, which you can see the pieces of the original order that I had. I ordered a male and female version, and you can see that, multiple years later, they definitely did not hold up. They both fell apart. In fact, I don't even have the female pieces anymore. I just have this male torso and some of the limbs of that original purchase. So this is the counterfeit version. Eventually, I did a little more research and found that Figma, that you need to look for certain specific things when you're researching to try to, especially if you're buying on eBay, to try to find the authentic version. So I went a little more specific on my keyword searches. Figma Archetype Next is the branded model, and it comes in either a he or a she variant, the she variant and the he variant. And I also sort of refined my searches a little bit so that I wasn't just looking at generic stock photo images. Those tended to be the counterfeit versions, so that the actual posting had the Figma box, the original box within the posting. And the photo on eBay looked more authentic, like as if a person actually took the photograph. So that was kind of my experience. And you can see that there are major differences. There are some proportion differences. You can't really tell those since this is in pieces, but proportionally it was a little different. But also there was some quality. I'm going to hold this up to the camera here. You can see that the neck is significantly thicker on the counterfeit version, which is this one, versus the real authentic Figma version. So thicker neck, weird attachment at the neck. You can see that now. I wish I had the female counterfeit version still, because the neck was really short on that one and it looked very strange. So there's just some connective and anatomical issues with the counterfeit ones that, on the authentic Figmas. Let me hold both of these up. These are the two authentic ones. So obviously they're not like perfect anatomical representations, but they are decent enough. They kind of have exaggerated musculature, but if you're just trying to get some basic thing to reference, like so you can pose different positions, especially if you're less experienced with sort of freehanding this stuff. The authentic ones came with a base, and you can just sort of plug it into their back and get them to do all kinds of stationary poses, and you can sketch directly from that. And I found that to be kind of nice. I don't really use them as much anymore, but especially early on when I was trying to sketch some anatomy, it was really helpful. So as I mentioned a couple times, I've had these for years now, and they've held up really well. I've kept them on my desk. My kids have even played with them. I think the way that the Counterfeit ones really met their end was from my kids playing with them. You can see that the little connector, this is where the lower torso connected. This part here, this basically just snapped. The plastic snapped on the Counterfeit one. So they're just not really well made. But the authentic ones, my kids have played with these, and they held up. They've survived all that. So that's pretty impressive, you know. Kids can play rough with toys sometimes. So the fact that these drawing models held up, that's pretty impressive. So another thing about these, there's a lot of different versions of these. You know, talking about eBay, that was really the only way in America that I've been able to find them at a reasonable price. I want to say that they were $30 for both of them, or maybe $25 for both of them, just from a person, I think in California, that was selling them. So that wasn't too bad. I'm sure you can get them at wholesale, because they're made in Japan. So you have to get a store or retailer that is willing to import them and sell them, but I think that tends to be a pretty expensive solution. So that was kind of eBay's kind of been the best way I've been able to find them. But there's lots of different versions. I think Figma, let's see, do they go by a different name? I think they're just called Figma, or Max Factory, I think, is another name of the company or something like that. But you can find a lot of different versions, and they have different colors. Like they have an orange one, they have orange, they have peach colored, they have a couple different, maybe like a solid black, but they also have character models and things like that are not just blank, generic drawing models. So they have a lot of different things available. So yeah, I guess overall with these, they're pretty nice drawing models. They held up really well, but you have to be very careful for bootlegs when you're buying, especially if you're trying to buy on eBay. You might get something really weird and malformed like this. So just look out for the original boxes and postings if you're trying to find them. And you know, they're durable, they're decent to draw from. I've been pretty happy with the purchase. It wasn't wildly expensive, and you know, although I don't use them much anymore, I did use them somewhat frequently at a point in my sketching. So it's kind of nice. Overall, I would recommend if you're looking for drawing models. Not too bad. So that is all I have for this. If anyone has any questions, oh, this guy's hand fell off. Oh, that reminds me. The originals actually came with different hands. The originals came with these hand options. I think they came with some other accessories too, although I can't find them anymore. Maybe some objects, like a weapon or something. You know, I can't remember, but this guy's hand definitely did fall off. But it's not broken. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but the plastic isn't broken. You can just snap the hand back on. So the hands are actually made to come off. And I don't know if anything else is. Nothing else has ever fallen off other than the hands, but yeah, so that's it. So if anyone has any questions about that, I just wanted to give my brief impression of these drawing models in case that's useful to anyone out there. Yeah, that's all I have. So thanks for watching this one, and hope to see you for the next video.